Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Teleislas News, the most important news of the day. You should know how the government and the different states entities are preparing, taking into account that the 2022 electoral calendar has already opened in the country. Here is the information.
The Secretariat of Government, together with the National Registry of Civil Status, have been making visits to the points where the voting tables will be available for the 2022 elections to be held in the country, this in order to maintain the biosecurity protocols, among other aspects.
Llevamos 3 días de visitas.
We have been visiting the normally established voting points for the last 3 days, so we are preparing for the 2022 elections on March 13. In these visits, we are measuring the voting sites to see if they comply with the capacity to accommodate the flow of people, which include voters, jurors, electoral witnesses, to be able to advance this electoral process.
In like a manner, the officials say which will be the points to be reviewed.
Estamos visitando los puntos de votación.
We are visiting the voting points that are normally established, such as the San Luis Coliseum, the Brooks Hill School, the Bolivariano, the Luis Amigo, Natania, the Esfuerzo School, and the prison voting point.
It should be noted that at the end of the visitation process and having established the schedule of activities and biosecurity protocols, it will be shared with the political parties and the movement so that they are aware of the procedures to be followed.
The departmental government through the Social Development Secretariat has been accompanying the victims of the armed conflict that are in our department, and they were also in meeting with the National Director of the unit for the attention of victims.
Good evening, Lisa and Aldi TV viewers. We talked to the Secretary of Development of our island, Marta Patricia Moreno, who told us about the meeting that she held with the Director of the Units of Reparation of Victims in our country. This is the Dr. Ramon Rodriguez. She told us about the importance of this meeting and also about how it is important to identify all the victims of the conflict in our department.
The Secretariat of Social Development is the technical secretariat for the victims in the department. Yesterday, we met with the staff from Bogota, with whom we were reviewing the commitments of Law 1448 of 2011 regarding these victims who are living in the department, in order to find ways to help and protect them because they are human beings. But for this, we must also take into account that in San Andres there is overpopulation, and although we must protect them, we also need to find the proper mechanisms to help them return to their hometowns.
One of the big agreements they get to this meeting is that they are going to make a characterization of all the people who is victims that live on our department. They also mentioned that they have in San Andres and in all Paredes.
We have 17 victims living in San Andres. We have a high number, but we want to be informed since we are clear that it has increased because a previous profiling was done, and now what we will do is to make an update and see how many we have and which ones have already settled here, since many of them already have families.
The idea is that this characterization began next 24th of May. This is all the information that we report from here from the town of the island. Continue, Lisa, in studio.
Pay much attention to the following note. Public Space Committee will give merchants the opportunity to request occupation of public space to put their chairs and tables outside their establishments. We continue with all information.
Hello, Lisa viewers. Good afternoon. That's right. Every legally constituted establishment must request the occupation and subscription of the public contract to place chairs and tables outside their establishment. Angie Milena Aragon, an official of the Planning Secretariat, spoke about this matter.
El Comité Interdisciplinario de Espacio Público.
The Interdisciplinary Committee of Public Space is chaired by the governor, who has the functions of managing the use of public space on the island of San Andres. The issuance of Decree 009 of 2019 gives the opportunity for those legally constituted commercial establishments that meet certain requirements to make use of a space adjacent to the commercial establishment.
The Ordinance 009 of 2009 regulates public space for its use, administration, maintenance, and economic use of the island of San Andres, and that is why establishment must request this permission. It is very important also to say that the non-compliance with this measure will bring fines to the establishments.
Estas personas.
They must apply for it before the Planning Secretariat. fulfill some requirements initially for the issuance of a license of intervention and occupation of public space, and after that, sign the contract. Failure to comply with the police code will have consequences that are under the jurisdiction of the police inspectors for those people that occupy the areas of public space.
Every person interested in this permission must go to the Coral Palace at the Secretariat of Planning. Sylvette Mitchell informed for Teleislas News.
And 2 men were captured for illegal possession of firearms, and in the same incident, a minor was apprehended by the authorities of the archipelago in the Morris Landing neighborhood. On the other hand, a 29-year-old man was captured for personal injury.
In the event that happened during last weekend in the Morris Landing neighborhood, 2 men known as Juan Carlos Barrios Martinez, 22 years old, known by the alias of Carlotas, and Jose David Cabarcas Perez, 31 years old, known by the alias of Jose, and a minor who participated in the raid, were apprehended thanks to the information provided by one of the affected persons of the incident and the opportune action of the authorities. The commander of the police department explained the facts.
The capture of 4 persons and the apprehension of a minor is achieved. That Saturday in the Morris Landing neighborhood, where there was a fight inside this sector, the fight caused the injury of 2 people, one of them a woman who was injured in one of her hands. Thanks to the reaction of the GOES, 2 delinquents who are attributed with these injuries were captured and a minor was also apprehended. It is important to highlight that one of the minors was under house arrest.
On the other hand, a 29-year-old man was captured in Simpsonwell for a crime of personal injury, where he hit a 42-year-old man resident of the sector with a blunt weapon. The person captured was turned into the Attorney General's office to respond for the crime of personal injury.
And with the objective of providing educational support to the children of Old Providence that are linked to the ICBF Child Development Centers, the National Army and a foundation from the city of Bogotá donated mats for the children's recreation.
The children of Batam House and Little Angels Child Development Center on the island of Providence received 38 children mats from the Colombian Navy, an integral action activity managed with the Ralph Bainey Foundation.
In order to support the education in the archipelago, we are here in the Child Development Center of Batam House delivering 18 mats, which are managed by the professional officers of the Naval Reserve through the Ralph Bainey Foundation of the city of Bogotá. The National Navy is linked in order to support the community, to support the rebirth of the archipelago after the catastrophe of Hurricane Iota.
These new mats allow the children to take advantage of the Child Development Center spaces and perform activities in more comfortable way, as indicated by teacher Silva J.
The mats are a resource that they can use when reading a story to sit down or at some point to rest from their daily activities.
It is hoped that with this donation, the children of the CDCs can enjoy more pleasant and safe spaces.
And now we continue with all sports information.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. Some coaches are not contented or displeased with the usage of the resources of football in the insular department. Football in our department continues to grow in the children's categories. Every day there are many more children to practice this sport, and some coaches express their disagreement due to the lack of support for their non-participation in the department resources destined to support this sport. According to Villarreal, children's football is neglected.
We are in absolute abandonment. We have no feeds. Despite the fact that there are many resources that approved juicy budget, a lot of money the sport like soccer remains still the same in the abandonment. Much violates the rights of soccer towards children. There are resources where you do not know where they are invested. In short, that is a chaos. I have not had any support from the government or the Secretariat of Sports of any entity that has said, Hector, we are going to collaborate in the process of training with children. I manage population that is CISBEN 1 and 2. These are children that we do not only teach them to play soccer, but we also work on the part of nutrition. San Andres has a huge malnutrition problem. There are children who are not very well nourished, and what I expressed in the accountability report and what I am getting at, man, if there are resources in the department, why not give resources to those who are truly working for our community? We are not given any opportunity to be hired as monitors. The Villarreal Club is a club that is for the community. We do not charge a peso because I have a sense of belonging.
Villarreal also stated it would be good to feel that support throughout the department to improve the soccer of this island department. Basketball coach Victor Hooker requests on behalf of the Basketball Guild for help to be able to participate in the Professional Basketball League tournament in the city of Cali. Today, Aska is showing positive results with basketball in the archipelago as a coach of the Hurricane Club, in which he selected a group of talented islanders and foreign reinforcement of high level to participate in this tournament. Aska wants to represent the island archipelago in the next professional basketball tournament to be held in the city of Cali on April 29th, which is why he requests support for the participation of the team.
We are support from the ensemble to go to the next championship that the professional league will be 29th of this month up Cali in the bubble now. The idea is to get one result and give one result. The idea is to maintain a result, you understand? We have a lot of talent in San Andres and we know what the player can give. So you will look bad like all of them are good players we got on here, so when we don't get the opportunity to play outside with a team from outside like Michael or like Franklin, you know the rest of them get the opportunity to go and embrace, you understand? We got players to go this tournament and be easily in the final. The youngest thing we have to learn from you that we have a selfishness where we got where this one want to be boss and the other one want to be boss. And hey, if all of who want to hand and join and do the thing the right way, I think say the result on the right so.
The support of the government for the continuity in the process for the young basketball players of the archipelago is very important, as mentioned by the renowned coach. And this is all in sports for the moment. I am Victor Fusalva, Teleislas News.